Okay, I'd like to say hello and thank you.
Let me do the introduction now.
Okay.
You in one second. Abani Ghani, everyone. This is Professor Amin Ra, along with co-host Joe, historian Hembrick, who is part of the Conscious Corner podcast. We're happy to have our guest, Brother Cliff Pruitt, who have a in-depth and very courageous plan for reparations. This is a program that is designed to serve the community with nothing but the truth, information. We take the lies and the molders of the truth that's out there giving falsehoods, and we just dismantle it, and we give you nothing but Black truth from our historical, contemporary, and futuristic perspective. So without further delay, because this is going to be a lengthy program, we want to let Brother Cliff Pruitt, who's a long time worker on reparations and community activist and servant, who has really worked hard to try to get people to read his plan, study his plan, and join him in an effort to get reparations for Black people for the Holocaust of enslavement. So, Mr. I want to add something about your background or just starting to the program? You're welcome, but it's on you right now.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Dr. Rob. Appreciate it very much, sir. As always, I like to give honor to God when you get a chance to address the people, talking about the plight of our community and the plight of our people. We have to put ourselves in a position to where we want to become analytical and critical thinkers. We don't want to let people tell us what is going to happen with reparations, because we are the people that endured the damage. So we should be the people to determine what it is and how we're going to repair that damage. And who will be able to get the reparations should be left to the people who are the victims. That should not be something that the perpetrators of those crimes initiate. This is something that should come from within the Black family. So I'm fortunate that I've had a chance to talk to some other reparations activists, some other reparation leaders, and some people that represent various reparation groups. And we are in the process of putting all our plans together because, as you mentioned, Dr. Ra, I'm just one of several. There are several good Black reparations plans out, maybe 5, 10, 15 of them. But the important thing is they all have some substance and they all have some validity and they all bring some value to the table. So again, we looking at our AARS plan as a good, comprehensive, complete, and thorough plan, something that we can use as a foundation reparations plan. And we can take all the good ideas from all the other reparations plans and incorporate them into AARS, and we can have that super reparations plan. And we can put all the people from these different reparations groups that have reparations plan on the AARS Congress so we can implement the AARS plan. The AARS plan is a very well thought out and designed plan. So what I want to do is I would just like to read parts of the plan, and then I would like to talk about it with a couple of you people after we read the plan. So the first thing I'd like to do is read the AARS Executive Summary. That's only one page. So let me read that, and then I'd like to have a little conversation about it of Dr. Rob with you and a few other people on the radio with us. Okay, so that plan is on my website. I'm going to my website now, and it's the last 3 articles that have a Black background on the home page. Go to the home page, and you see the AARS summary is the last 3 articles on that home page in Black background. And that link for my home page is https://AAIUENDRACISM.org. That's AAIUEndRacism.org. AAIUEndRacism.org. Go to that website, scroll down to the bottom, last 3 articles that have a Black background. And I want to start by reading the 1-page executive summary. At the top of it, it says, Black people need immediate action for racism, middle passage, and slavery reparations. The African American Reparations/Sovereignty AARS Plan, executive summary. Presenting a Black reparations plan includes 1, knowing the amazing history of Africa and Black people. 2, noting the government and guilty groups caused major problems and vast damage by invading and capturing Africa, stealing her resources, and enslaving Black people. The damage stems from racism, invasions, colonialism, slavery, and segregation, and caused acute emotional trauma. Then 3, getting emergency reparations payments on 12/1/22. So recognize Africa is the cradle of civilization and home of the original people formed in God's image. They were very dark Black people, often praying for wisdom to build safe cities and govern in truth for prosperity. Black people should be proud, appreciated, and respected globally for these great achievements, but instead they have been abused, enslaved, and oppressed for over 2,000 years. This came about as the result of religious propaganda by writing Negrophobic language into scripture, which prescribed Blacks as slaves to the government and guilty groups for ages. The Pope apologized for having 7 European nations and the United States government to covertly suppress developing Africa and to overtly dominate and subjugate Black people. There were also 17 United States corporations which gained unjust enrichment, like hundreds of trillions from the slave trade, transport, and policies. AARS is for Blacks at home and abroad. The plan includes programs to learn about and reconnect with their motherland, family, customs, and culture, regain control of Africa, and build safe cities in America, Africa, the diaspora, and globally. Blacks are the victims of the worst and longest crimes of all times, called crimes against humanity, and they cause dangerous divisions, then a spiritual decline. So Blacks need AARS to repair, reunite, and transform back to their spiritual mindset prior to slavery, then seek racial healing with all peoples. Please read AARS as directed to in the footer. The AAIU and their allies will form the AARS Congress to implement the plan. AARS is superb with SEG programs to generate wealth from seed funds. That should be the deciding factor. The government and guilty groups get great relief by donating 5B in seed funds instead of 2T, 20T, or 50 trillion that they each owe. Blacks get great relief by getting emergency relief ASAP, building safe cities, and repairing a wide range of damage. Generating their own wealth restores Black pride and unity. Getting inner peace abolishes begging and is the key to liberation. There is nothing anyone can say or do that is better for Blacks than generating wealth. If a basic 1-year term program offers a pre-short-term program to raise seed fund amount prior to engaging the basic program, clients move fast. Fortunately, 520B and 10-5B programs are available now with both term contracts. So we need 15 clients to fill those positions ASAP to secure both of those programs. And we do have people that we are negotiating with right now. Clients send 5B or 20B cash in seed funds evenly to the operating United States Black banks. They also let rich Blacks engage from 10M to 5B. Then one person becomes a client by completing a long 20 to 30-page form for compliance. Nobody around foul activity can engage. Then clients get contracts for diligence. The SEEG programs require clients to block their contract amount in their accounts for program duration, timing, and operations. Thus, clients cannot lose their seed funds with SEEG programs. System banks and their officers manage the programs so they are safe and produce exponential returns. The incentive to move fast. Programs open and close quick. Victims need emergency relief ASAP. Clients get 100% weekly payouts and seed funds unblocked after program's duration. So now, with this wealth generation factor that we have here, we do consider this to be a very strong advent within the reparations arena. And I would like to hear what some of you have to say about that page I just read. Does anybody have any questions or comments about
it? I mean, when you say generate wealth and you say that we should be paid for the, you use the word trauma. What is the trauma? What is the trauma? I understand the oppression, psychoneurosis, and what they call the various forms of psychosis that's retained from generation to generation based upon the destruction of the Black family, the destruction of the Black culture, the destruction of the Black identity, the mixing and destruction of the just the human element of us as a people for hundreds of years. I understand that, but when you say trauma today to kids who didn't go through that or through, and many of them don't even feel like they traumatized. They're out partying, rapping, doing their thing. They down at spring break in Atlanta, spring break in New Jersey, and doing their thing in Jersey Beach, and partying and drinking and doing their thing. But when you say that they're suffering from trauma, a continuation of trauma, or you saying we should get paid for the trauma our ancestors went through, or is there some continuity? I mean, I just want you to explain that so that people could understand.
Okay, well, there definitely is some continuity to the emotional trauma that Black people suffer from today. And it's largely reflective in the language that we use. A lot of people in our community use what we would consider, or what Bill Cosby described as foul and filthy language. And when he said he wanted Black people to clean ourselves up, Black people started coming at him like they wanted to beat him up and kill him. But this is what we mean when we say acute emotional trauma. This is subliminal reactionary language to viciously being brutally and savagely beat for centuries, and feeling the impact today when you see a person like Breonna Taylor, police go storm up in our house and kill her like that, or somebody, the way they killed George Floyd. It brings up traumatic scenarios that Black people can never forget. That brings up scenarios of lynching. That brings up scenarios of entire towns being massacred. That brings up scenarios of Black people having to endure the Middle Passage, and understanding that that was a situation that occurred hundreds of years ago, but is reflected psychologically in Black people and expressed in the language that we use. So the emotional trauma is the big part of reparations that Black people don't want to talk about. That such entrenched, overpowering feelings of being dominated and abused, it just comes out in our language, and it's like we do not have any kind of recourse. So every other word is in language that is not appreciative of the way we have been treated throughout the sojourn of our stay here in this country. So emotional trauma, again, we can term it a post-traumatic slave syndrome. Okay, this is when you know how bad your ancestors were treated, and you may have visions of Africans jumping and being thrown overboard of slave ships. You may have visions of wild crowds gathered to cheer these violent lynchings, and then they cut the persons of the people's bodies parts off and save them for souvenirs. So Black people have a lot of experiences in this country that are reflective of all of the invasions that we have suffered all the way back to 332 BC. So it's irrespective, and it doesn't matter whether or not they feel like they are being have been victimized by a traumatic situation. They may be down partying in South Beach, and they might be up drinking in North Carolina. Whatever they're doing, though, it's still something that is negative to nation building. And when we start dealing with our psychological aspect of what happened to Black people, and start looking at post-traumatic slave syndrome, and start understanding that the reactionary language that we use is in regards to that, then we can begin to tell our people that we can't clean ourselves up, and we're not a lost cause, and we have the authority to, and we have the ability to, like you say, go and rent these different nice places out and populate them with a bunch of young people to have a lot of fun. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, we have been through so many hard times in this country. Again, we need to have some good times in this country. Black people need reparations. We need our own land. We need to build our own cities. It's very, very difficult for Black people to live next to the people who enslaved them and then segregate them for 100 years. And then you have to go to their court whenever you get in trouble. You really do not know what racism is until you go to a United States courthouse and you find yourself in trouble. You find out what racism is, and they smother you like gravy on the pork chop. I mean, it's ridiculous the way they come down. All of them simultaneously come down like they're supposed to keep you down and out. And they want to keep your foot on your neck and stamp the life out of you. And this is a terrible, tragic situation, because a white person go to court for the same crime and they get a slap on the wrist. So that's another part of the trauma that Black people experience. And the list is never ending. It's just, you know, Black people drive down the street and police pull behind them, they get instant psychology attacks. I mean, it's just ridiculous what we have to go through. White people don't have to go through that. When we drive in our neighborhoods, we be driving down the street and hit a pothole, tear the whole front end up. But you know, white people don't have to experience that. And all this is a part of racism. We dealing with laws that are impartial to our people. We dealing with police that are impartial to our people. And we are stuck in a rut. And it's going to take reparations to get us out of it. And the big part of reparations that we like to talk about is land. And that's why our plan is called the African American Reparations / Sovereignty Global Black Reparations Plan. Because we talking about Black people need land, not only in America and Africa and throughout the diaspora, but all the places where Black people are still colonized. Like in West Paw and the Gullah Geechee Island place. We got to get these places liberated. We have to get our people to become sovereign, because we have to start governing our people ourselves. We need to start writing our own laws. We need to come out of the clutches of the slave who've been there too long. So did that answer your question for you, sir?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, very good. Anybody else have any question or comment?
Yeah, brother. This is Brother Hendrick.
Hey, Joe.
Appreciate the presentation. Got some questions and some comments.
Okay.
You know, first of all, you know, we're seriously behind enemy lines, but many of us suffer from the illusion of inclusion. Us and we and our, whenever we over here, when this land was taken from another man. So it ain't even his to give because he took it from somebody else. But anyway, also, other than the European enslavement, we got to talk about the Arab one that occurred 1,000 years before. I'm talking about some folks that got some long paper. I know the European boys over here, kind of be bowing down to them sheiks and whatnot over there. They got long paper, and they the ones that did it to us first.
Mm-hmm.
They have a debt to pay also.
Yeah.
But anyhow, things have to be forced to bear, if you follow what I'm saying. Asking them and pleading with them in court and all that. You kind of got to force their hand to get them to reconcile what they need to reconcile with, if you follow what I'm saying. By us not spending any money with him is one. That's one thing I give old King and the civil rights thing, the boycotting and making folks do what needs to be done. But on top of that, I would say, and I've heard people talk about this on some shows, especially with Claude Anderson, talking about go on and give them the reparations. They're going to give it right back anyway by buying a bunch of cars and jewelry and this and that and, good timing. But I hear you speak about land and them giving up land. Well, I sure like to see how that could be accomplished. I don't know of any people that's behind enemy lines and the enemy is letting you get some land inside their lines that you can call yours. That had to be by force as far as I can see. We're not prepared for that either.
Well, let me ask you something, Brother Joe. Do you happen to be sitting in front of a computer with my website open?
No, I'm not all that adept with it. It was a tough time learning how to get on this show.
Okay. No. Okay, my man. Okay. Well, I just want to let me point something out to you when you talk about the land part, because there is a history of reparations and concessions that have been granted to other people already.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay.
Japan's been paid. Matter of fact, these Armenians trying to get paid right now.
No, I'm just talking about the land part. I'm not talking about the money part. I'm just talking about the land part. A lot of people have been given a lot of land, for transgressions that have been happening at the hands of this United States government. So we want them to give us land the same way these other people get land.
What other people got land here?
Oh, let me see here. We got the Native Americans. We got the Jewish people. We have, let me see here, Seminoles of Florida, Klamath of Oregon, Chippewas of Wisconsin, Sioux of South Dakota. Let me see here.
Brother, can I time out for a minute?
Yes, you can.
How you gonna take my land from me in the first place, and then you give it back, and you saying you giving me land? They giving back what they took in the first place.
Well, I agree with you right there, but the big difference is, see, we have a plan to implement now. We get our land. We will not have to worry about our people running amok and like you say, spending it on futile and just squandering the money. We have a plan, and that's why we want everybody to read ARS, because we give people an opportunity to get into programs to make you want to relinquish those type of activities and get yourself on a career-oriented path. We do deal with Black people on a mental level. So we want to make sure that we talk about the plan is just as important, if not more important, than the money. Because anytime you talk about reparations to Black people, first thing they say is, "Where's my check?" And there's nothing wrong with that, because they do owe us money. But it's just as important, if not more important, for us to have land and a plan to make sure that we repair the damage that has been done to our people, so we can stay on the path of repair and we can remain on that course, and we can pray to God daily that we stay on that course. Because, brother, you're talking about a lot of damage that has been done to people that have had their motherland and their culture and their customs stripped away from them, and our families ruined, our culture just almost evaporated. I mean, the way that they treated Black people is just unconscionable, and it's taking a toll on Black people psychologically. And it doesn't matter, again, whether they want to admit or not. It shows in the actions and the language that we use. Black people are fed up with it, and they want some justice for it right now.
I'm all with that. Now, when you're talking about, you know, the spirituality that was lost, you know, during the commission of those crimes with the enslavement and all of that.
Yes.
Getting our people to see or even want to keep into what our people were about before we met any Arab, Hebrew, or Christian. You know, what were we about? And you kind of lose them right there. Like I say, we bought into this thing and it's been ingrained in us.
And that's a very important point right there, brother. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's what Black people need to be repaired back to, the way that we were prior to all them invasions of our territory and our human beingness. So you're absolutely right, brother.
Mind. And until that mind gets together, that stuff between them ears, and my question is with that, what type of, you know, we need some type of international propaganda plan to wake folks up and make them aware, like, you know, like the people that's out there partying and all this and that, what if something else is being thrown in their face about what happened to us, so they can see it, may speed up the process of them getting on board or seeing whatever little part they can do to pull this thing off. You know,
that's a good idea.
So I suggest, I know when I was teaching, I had a lot of them kids that, you know, partying, and they call it living, you know, living ghetto fabulous, and
right,
job and go get that 40 and a couple of blunts and go to the party and woo woo woo.
Mm-hmm.
And then I showed them the movie A Dry White Season about the Soweto massacre down in South Africa. And that shook them up. You know, we got to be shook up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we, and those that's doing okay, they got them 3 squares and living in a decent crib and all that, they ain't even worrying about that. But our people need to be shook up. And the stuff that happens to us daily ought to be shaken up enough.
Right.
That, you know, they fall right back into that comfort zone as long as I'm comfortable. You know what I mean? But anyway, I just mean ranting on about this. I've gone over this a lot, and I don't see these devils giving up nothing. Frankly, they only give it up if you make them give it up. If they would just exclude me from taxes for the rest of our lives, I'd be happy as hell. Mm-hmm. But anyway, turn it back over to you, brother.
And okay. But thank you, man, for your questions and your comments, brother, because you definitely weren't ranting and raving. You were making some good, strong points, and I appreciate you, and I'm sure the other callers do too. But as far as getting our people, our young people especially, to get a little more focused in on nation building as opposed to partying, it is going to take some kind of a shock or some kind of a international promotional campaign, like you're saying, to make Black people aware of what we want to do and what we should be doing. And when we get into the course of that activity, it can have a good snowball effect, just like the civil rights movement. So that's why we have our plan situated the way we have it. And we do plan on having some power moves to get ARS to come to fruition. But we have to do, like Dr. Ross says, first, we got to get Black people in this country time to read the plan and digest it, and to understand that we're pushing ARS as a plan where we can generate wealth. And we don't think that there's anything close to that, you know, in the reparations arena. So now that we have the ability to generate wealth with the guilty parties participating at a much lower rate than they will if, like you say, we have to end up filing lawsuits or having some kind of political activity, or if we have to go through the United Nations, whatever route we decide to take, then it would have to be a collective movement with the mass of our people willing to engage in a civil rights movement type manner. So this is what ARS would inspire our people to do. That's why we're trying to get people to read and study the plan. Because just like I say, it's the important part of reparations for other people is just them getting some land or some money. But the important part for reparations for Black people has got to be learning about our true history, learning about our true culture, learning about Africa and what our motherland means to civilization today. We need to have different type of activity that is structured in a manner to make our people want to change mentally. That's where it lies. It comes from the thought and from the way that you talk. That can be interpreted as movement towards nation building if we can get everybody to read a plan that puts us in a position to regain our culture and our family and our traditions and our values. And we need to get back to the way that we were, just like you mentioned, Brother Joe. That's very, very important. The way that we were prior to all this racism, invasions, and slavery. So, yes, we do have a lot of work to do. But yes, if we put it in the right tone and the right framework, I believe not only will our young people want to come in, but I believe 80% of the Black people on this planet will want to come in on it, because Black people do realize that slavery and racism has disconnected us from our motherland and has destroyed our family, and has Black people running around like a whole different tribe of people in this country. Black people in this country aren't like Black people any place else. We are a certain breed of Black people, a certain breed of people, period. But we need to get into a situation to where we can have a racial hierarchy among our people. We need to have our rich Black people thinking in terms that they want to do what they can to provide some kind of services to help our poor Black people. We have to have our poor Black people willing to accept some services from rich Black people and other Black people to want to clean ourselves up. We shouldn't have to worry about people saying, go ahead and give them reparations. They just going to give back tomorrow because they're going to spend it all foolishly. So, again, with AARS, we have programs that we can put into place to get people want to dissolve that type of mentality out of them and to prepare them to utilize reparations in the most efficient manner. So that's what we want to do. We are not oblivious to the fact that, but not only Black people, all people have a propensity to go have a party if you get your wave of money coming in. That's why we broke it down. We said we want to give all Black people $2 million in this country, but we don't want to give it to them at one time, though. We want to give them $100,000 at a time, give everybody an opportunity to get them a bank account established, get themselves in some programs and make sure that they're doing the right thing and they have good spending and saving habits, that we won't have to worry about squandering our money or people spending their money on things that they shouldn't be. So we can put ourselves in a position to clean ourselves up after all of the damage that has been done to us. We can still take care of ourselves, put ourselves in a position where we want to follow a plan, don't deviate from it. Everybody learn about it and can gravitate to it. And it's something very, very good. And again, another good thing about ARS, we actually let the government and them guilty groups off the hook with this funding source that we have. And we need to make sure that they are aware of it and Black people are aware of it as soon as possible, because we need to get this in motion right now. We don't need to wait until 2023 for one of these groups to put out another study or to offer us a report about their findings, when we have people that's been involved in reparations already for 20, 40, 60 years. We have something valuable to bring to the table, but they need to talk to us about it, because after we produce a reparation plan that everybody agrees with, then we have to go to them and tell them this is what we want. We can't just sit back and let them tell us you have to be of a certain lineage from Africa in order to qualify for reparations. That's nobody should even have a statement like that come out of their mouth. Because again, if you're a Black person, you deserve reparations because you're subject to getting your life taken away from you just because you're Black. So you don't have to prove you know lineage when the police ride down the street and they see you. If you're a black person, they'll pull you over and harass you. So we have to take all this into consideration. But see, when you have, you know, black people that are real smart and they are used to playing the political game, then they're going to put out political genre for you. And that's a political move right there. Just same thing with saying you have to prove that you are a descendant of a slave to get reparations. This is, you know, something that half of the black people in this country won't be able to do anyway. So again, we can't accept that as a criteria for all people to get reparations. If you have that you was black or African American on your birth certificate, you qualify for reparations. If you had Negro or color or any other name that they use to classify us, you qualify for reparations, and you will get your reparations with AARS. We got so many benefits going with AARS because, like I said, we put this plan together from not only the best minds from our group, from the African American Independent Union, but we got some of the best minds to give us input from NCOBRA, from NBUA, from National Reparations. I mean, we have a wide variety of scholars all around the country that put. I circulated that ARS plan for probably about 5 months all around the country. And it was getting better and better, but it got longer and longer. So we had to reduce it down. But the fact of the matter is there was a lot of smart and intelligent people that know about the damage that had been inflicted upon Black people. And you really can't determine what Black people should get for reparations if you don't understand what the damage is. You can't do that just because you're a person that has a whole lot of degrees and you own a whole lot of companies and you got a whole lot of money doesn't mean you understand what it's going to take to repair this mental psyche of Black people. It doesn't mean you know how to remove us from all of this terrorism and violence and integration and get us some sovereign land in this country so we can build our own cities and we can teach our people, educate our people ourselves, teach them what we want them to learn. We can provide the best health care possible for our people. We can get top-notch housing for people. We don't have to live in rundown, dilapidated neighborhoods anymore. We don't have to do it. We have the ability to generate wealth now with AARS reparations. So all Black people got to get in tune to it and understand just what it means. If we're generating wealth, then that means we're going to generate enough wealth to actually build the cities and generate enough wealth to take care of our people, generate enough wealth to implement all of the moving parts in ARS to repair the damage that has been done to our people and to set us on the path for a brighter future. And we never fall back into the rut that we're in today, especially when we finally get our people out of this language that we use and it has become embedded in our everyday language. And it's not customary. It's not really putting us in a position to get the kind of blessing that we need to get from God as a people. When we take one step towards God, He will take 2 steps towards us. So we got to bring spirituality out more in our neighborhood, more in our communities. We got to have to start people talking about God more. Black people got to start getting in tune with God more. We have to start talking about spiritual language. We have to start talking about churches and temples and mosques, preaching peace and tolerance to the people. We don't need to have a society where one person is a member of another race and you look at that person and you don't like him or her because they are a member of another race. We have got to stop this. It's becoming detrimental in society and it's killing the social fabric of our country. This racism is terrible and we need to address it right now, and we need to address it with reparations. So does anybody else like to make a comment or a statement or have a question?
This is Morsan Kinsey from the Mighty Forefront. Looking at the economic development between America and Blacks here in the country, how do you feel that we'll be able to achieve some kind of form of economic development when every time we've tried it's been met with violence? Because
the way we have our plans set up is we work with them and we get the cooperation of the people that have been inflicting the violence upon us. This United States government and those other guilty parties that are known to have produced mass murders against Black people, and it has been going on for generations. This is not new. So what you're saying, brother Marshawn, you are exactly right. But again, with our funding process, the way we have it, the way we have our funding pattern set up, again, we give those guilty groups great debt relief with our funding process here. Instead of them coming to the table and worry about us going for all them trillion-dollar lawsuits and tell them they owe us hundreds of $1 trillion for what they did to us, which is rightfully so, we going to them now with a business model. And we're saying, you give us $5 billion in seed funds, we'll generate wealth for a year, 100 billion, maybe 200 or 300 billion, and then we can give you your $5 billion back at the end of the 1 year period, or we can give you $10 or $20 billion back, and you can let the rest of it go for AARS reparations. That's the funding plan, and that's a good way to begin some kind of racial healing with races too, to know that we are.
I'm saying doing that in a sense, even saying after they've already done what they've done for the last 500 years.
Yes.
To go and build a relationship economic development wise, but they're going to give us $5 billion to build up our own communities, to build our own cities. What I'm saying is we've been trying to do that for 500 years, and every time we've done it, it's been met with a form of destruction or violence. So why are they going to allow us to do it now? Because every time we've done it, it's been met with violence. Every time, even from then to now, you know, so it's not like it hasn't stopped. So I'm just trying to figure out the concept is right now, you can't name a Black-owned business, a Fortune 500 Black-owned business that's a household name. You can't name one. You know what I'm saying? They don't exist. So people say, well, all the Black companies always sell their company, they sell their companies. Well, what happens to the Black companies that don't sell? The ones that say no, where are they? Where are they? So as a small entrepreneur, and I say, I want my Black business to be like who? Who? Mm-hmm. What's 500 years we've been here, and it's not one. Not one. Mm-hmm. And then they say we have the mental issues, but it's something else in the water is all I'm saying. There's something else in the water that contains that one is not a household name. And that's the thing that as we get as much money as we can, they could give us $1 trillion. Economically building is still the problem because there's something in the water. And that's what I wanted to figure out what we could do about that part.
Yeah, well, just like I say, the plan that we have again, brother, is generating wealth. So we take care of everything in the economic and financial arena if we generate our own wealth. We put our people in a position to understand what this funding pattern is here, generating wealth from seed funds from guilty people instead of telling them give us trillions of dollars. We have a much better chance, in my opinion, for us to get $5 billion in seed funds for us to go and generate wealth, and then to give them their seed funds back when the program is over in 1 year, than to go and tell them you're going to give us trillions of dollars for reparations. I'm kind of like Brother Joe. I really don't believe that they'll ever do that anyway.
Yeah, because remember, we did that with Tulsa, and we didn't even do it with their money. We had our own money, and they came and bombed. We did the same thing with the Moulin Rouge, and they came and bombed it. So every time we achieved, even with our own financial growth, economically, something that was powerful, even when it came to BET, we got to buy it for $3 billion. Even Beats headphones from Dr. Dre, we got to buy them $3 billion. So we understand that it's okay for Black business to sell, but what happens when they say no and they continue to go forward? I don't know, because there's none that exist. So we really have to question the issue of us actually being able to have an economic corporation that is a Fortune 500 company, even in America, because one doesn't exist right now.
I agree with you 100%, and you're absolutely right. But again, our focus is self-determination and nation building. That's what our focus is. And again, if we generate the wealth, then we don't have to worry about that, because we can put some parameters in effect to protect ourselves, just like the way that they burnt Rosewood out. Okay. We build our own city now. We can build a military installation there, and ain't nobody gonna come mess with us. Okay. Nobody.
That's the kind of things we need to be able to put in, even if we have to build over within the diaspora or within Africa.
No. We building up every place where Black people would have been enslaved and exploited. We rebuilding all of them places up in America, Africa, in the diaspora, and all of the places that have been colonized in this world. We rebuilding all the Black infrastructure with AARS reparations. That's what we're doing, sir.
Okay. Okay, because I mean the thing is to make sure that we have a strong force on a global scale, because just having one here again is we're not trying to do a military practice stuff, but again, we have to understand that it's been a purposely cause for us not to be able to have economic development here, as far as television wise, as far as us being able to market commercial wise. There's an economic effect that everybody benefits except from us, from our own culture. So the thing is, once we take control of our culture, we have an economic value. But the thing is, when we take that back, people lose. So in the instance, you have, like, say in America, 10,000 beauty supply stores that are in urban American cities. And out of those 10,000, 9,000 are owned by Koreans. So if 5,000 Black women once opened up a beauty supply store, knowing that all the manufacturing products of most beauty products are distributed out of Korea, how does that work without manufacturing process and manufacturing booties and putting that in place economically, and then having another creative market to go into? So there's a lot.
Okay, well now wait just a minute right there. Now I can give you one better than that. Just think that if we had a bunch of Black women and we had our own sovereign land and we had to have our businesses, and we had a bunch of Black women had their own beauty shops, and we had some other Black women that was making all the beauty products, that is much better than sitting here and trying to scratch and be next to people that really don't want you here anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And then
that's why we get our own land, brother. We generate our own wealth. We take care of our people ourselves.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And that's the key element of what we're looking to try to do with the Mighty Forefront, is making sure it had it in place, because the goal is, in a sense, I'm from Compton, California. So we took, all my life I've been going to Asian stores and supporting their business and companies and things like that. So a lot of times they don't factor into place. Yeah, so that's perfect.
And I go to all the Black businesses out here in Compton.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing that we want to be able to structure to where it comes in a place to where everybody gets the benefits. So even for some of these countries to open up Black businesses in some of these other countries that we've supported for 30 and 40 years in our countries, in our communities, So it's time that everybody can open up for us too, And so that's one of the things that we want to make sure that is catered to us, that we have a full scale, because we don't have to do everything with America. We have built some great relationships with a lot
of
Exactly. Appreciate what you said, everything correctly. I'd like for you to finish reading your plan, and then I think you answered some of my Sean, Brother Kenzie's questions. So read like you told me you was going to do. You was going to read the plan, because we're gonna stop at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
All right. So get through the plan. I wouldn't do part and then ask questions. Get through the whole plan. People can take notes. And then, let's
okay, well, I'll do it like this. The second part of the plan is the AARS executive order, and it's only 3 pages. So let me read these 3 pages, and then we'll talk about these 3 pages.
You do it the way you want to do it, but
because then after that, we only got one more part with 3 pages left after that. So we just got 2 more 3-part sections, and we'll be good.
And it's on you, man. We don't have
any. All right, thank you. Okay, so now again, on my homepage, if you scroll down to the second to the last article, it says AARS executive order. That is for $5 billion ASAP from the government and guilty groups to expedite emergency funding for 12/1/22. That's right. We can get reparations this year on December the 1st with AARS reparations and securing reparations resources. Now here's the executive order right here. The United States government, the Pope, and the Church, 7 European nations, Britain, Denmark, France, Italy, Benevolence, Portugal, and Spain, the Willie Lynch letter, and the Jews, and the 17 corporations listed below are all guilty of land theft, ruining family and culture, and mass murders in Africa, throughout the diaspora, then in America. So Blacks need a reparations plan now to get emergency relief, land, and programs to repair, rebuild, and recover all tragic losses and damages. The African American Reparations / Sovereignty AARS plan services all those areas and much more. So we are calling on President Joe Biden to issue an executive order for AARS for June 10th of 22 this year as an apology and gift to all Blacks for Juneteenth from America and guilty groups. The executive order should be for the government and be 26 guilty groups to each send $5 billion in cash ASAP evenly to the operating United States black banks. The executive order notifies and inspires the 27 groups to engage with AARS, since again, they get great debt relief so blacks can get emergency reparations relief, their own land, and police accountability. When America accepts AARS, they agree to emergency relief, 40 square mile land grants to build safe cities, and ensuring safety for all blacks. Corporate restitution for slavery, plaintiff and defendant information. This is about the 17 corporations who we know have benefited from slavery. This compilation compromised the materials on landmark class action lawsuits brought on behalf of 3.5 million descendants of enslaved Africans for slavery reparations. Plaintiffs in 6 different states, New York, New Jersey, Illinois, California, Louisiana, and Texas, filed the actions against a total of 17 defendant corporations who are known to have profited for hundreds of years from slavery and the transatlantic slave trade. The cases have been consolidated in the United States District Court, Northern District of Illinois, Eastern Division, before Judge Charles R. Norville. Now, they give us the name of the 17 corporations by industry name. So the insurance companies is Aetna, Lloyd's of London, and New York Life. The financial companies are Fleet Boston, AFSA Data Corp, Brown Brothers Harriman, JP Morgan Chase, and Lehman Brothers. The tobacco industry are RJ Reynolds, Brown and Williams, the Liggett Group Incorporated, and the Lowe's Corporation. The railroad groups are Canadian National, CSX, Norfolk Southern, and Union Pacific. And then the textile company, West Point Stevens. So we have a great right, and we have put the plan out in order so we have a legal barrier to claim with ARS now with that page right there. So now let's go to the spiritual aspect of it again. The Pope apologizes to Africa and all Black people for their role in slavery. Apologies should ordain $5 billion cash for seed fund settlements. We sincerely thank the Pope for having the courage to admit that the church should apologize to African/Black people all over the world for their role in the slave trade. Hopefully other perpetrators will have leaders with the same guts to admit their transgressions because they are liable. AARS offers top processes, programs, and services to provide refined relief for perpetrators and victims. We also thank the World Council of Churches for telling Europeans, Americans, Arabs, Jews, and all corporates to pay reparations to African nations, parts of the diaspora where Blacks were abused, enslaved, and exploited, and Black people globally for their role in the slave trade. We honor Mr. Peoples, a late Compton community activist. I know you remember him, Dr. Ross, who brought attention to the Black American slavery holocaust by driving his model of a slave ship around LA County for nearly 40 years. He filed a lawsuit against the church for their role in the slave trade that was, but should not have been dismissed without the proper judicial process in a sworn court of jurisprudence. The Pope asked Africans to forgive Christians involved in the transatlantic slave trade. Pope John Paul II recently journeyed along the same route that hundreds of thousands of Africans passed through on a voyage to the New World as slaves, and the pontiff begged forgiveness for Christians involved in the slave trade. How can one forget the enormous suffering inflicted, ignoring the most elementary rights of man on the people deported from the African continent, he asked. From this African sanctuary of Black pain, we beg the pardon from above. The Pope made the comments during a visit to Gorée Island, which is a 20-minute boat ride from a French naval base in the capital of Dakar in West African Senegal, calling the passage a door of no return. The pontiff toured cells of the House of Slaves where at least 600,000 Africans passed through during an extended period ending in the early 19th century. He likened the house where people were held in chains awaiting slave ships to this century's concentration camps, the Maison des Enclaves, which has been restored as a museum to document the horrors. In a meeting with Muslim leaders, he appealed for an end to modern-day slavery, citing organized prostitution, and stressed the need for cooperation and equality for Christian minorities who he said are discriminated against in many Muslim countries. The Pope's week-long pilgrimage was aimed at strengthening the role of the Catholic Church in the heavily populated Muslim countries of Senegal, Gambia, and Guinea. Third page of the executive order. Emergency, individual, and family monetary payments for all Blacks globally. The SEEG has 3 groups generating wealth for emergency, individual, and family relief funding. Many Blacks have problems with or lost bank accounts. AARS provides them a new bank account as a reparations award with financial services for 1 year to form good spending and saving habits. All 50 million United States Blacks need a red, black, and green reparations ID from 1 to 50 million by last name, state, date of birth, age, social security number, income, and photo and fingerprints for exact payments. There are about 12 Black banks operating in the United States, so all Blacks will be appointed one of these operating Black banks by last name for payments. All Blacks get a bank card from their appointed Black bank via their reparations ID. All reparations payments go to their bank cards, and Black settlement date is Blacks born by December the 1st, 2021. We would take these funds and give every Black person in America $100,000 on 12/1/22. That's right. If Black people get up and start studying, reading ARS, they can see we can get our reparations this year. We don't have to wait for a report to come next year. We don't have to wait. Black people need to get proactive in the reparations arena and read and study ARS so we can take this to the court. Now, as an initial payment, we will give all Blacks 20 consecutive 100K payments every 30 to 60 days, pending how long it takes for all Blacks to receive their payments. Then we resume payments until we reach the $2 million goal for all Blacks in America. This path encourages Blacks to use reparations most effectively and not squander them selfishly or with others. And it also gives Blacks time to utilize programs to seek top mental and physical health by engaging in preparation to receive reparations programs and learning to produce and sell all products for daily use in America and in great demand abroad. AARS delegates the same ID process for all Black families in Africa and throughout the diaspora to provide $2 million per family, since the cost of living is much lower and the number of Blacks are much higher. Blacks must be 18 to get these payments. We put these funds for Blacks who are not 18 in personal trust funds at their operated Black bank. Blacks do not pay taxes on any reparations payments. It should also be stipulated that no government, company, or group should harass Blacks for any debt, because AARS requires all Blacks to be released from all debt as another reparations award. Blacks should take the next 20-month period to fortify a racial hierarchy, their AARS Congress, and studying all pertinent parts of AARS to produce healing, repairing, recovering, and transforming programs. We are blessed and fortunate to have found a funding source. We should move fast to apply stern pressure via planning for national action. National action includes planning for the second National Black Political Convention, then the second Million Man March to propel the second civil rights movement, to demand AARS ASAP, and at least by and for Juneteenth. Blacks should claim their injured and indigenous status, their AARS plan, and a model for residents with their plebiscite vote after Juneteenth on June 27th of 2022 this year. We will keep you informed. The PV indicates Blacks are indigenous to this land as distinct relatives of the ancient African Olmecs who were here first, building and moving civilizations, not American Indians or early Mexicans. The PV guarantees Blacks land along with other reparative measures. AARS provides emergency relief for Blacks and initiates dialogue to improve integration, expand repatriation, create sovereignty, and improve police and race relations. That would be a spiritual awakening and a brand new beginning for Blacks globally. That is exactly what Blacks need for reparations. That's the second part. I'm open the floor for questions or comments now.
I think when you say, you said you're going to give each Black person $100,000. What is the vehicle and what is the process, and who's going to distribute that money?
We distribute that money through a process after we generate the wealth. So the process will be with the bank, red, black, and green ID cards that all Black people get. And we will follow that ID process to get Black people our reparations payments.
Who's going to distribute the money? From where?
We will distribute the money from the Black banks. We'll have a financial committee with the ARS Congress, and they will make that, because that's not difficult at all. That's easy to do. We have planned to do it ourselves in our own committee, but we're going to work with other activists and take their ideas too. But we can easily set up a monetary system to pay every Black person in this country with the reparations ID process we just talked about. That would be easy.
So you're saying the AARSP will be the central organization, and that people would join the AARSP Congress,
right,
and be a member of the Congress, and they would deal with the banks and get the money, and they would distribute the ID cards and distribute the checks or money to all the Black people.
That is exactly right. The ARS Congress will be just like the United States government. That is exactly right. Yes, sir.
And who determines the hierarchy of the AARSP?
The people that come to the table with reparations plans will be the first considered. The people that have good reparations ideas, people who are reparations specialists, people who are reparation experts will be considered the popular.
So that structure is not put together yet?
That structure is already put together, yes, sir. I just have to build that in this plan because that's another 10 pages. But we do have that payment structure in order already, yes, sir.
I mean, you had a plan.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the process of choosing and meeting with our people and getting them to want to participate in the Congress for that purpose of the AARSP plan.
Right.
I mean, the membership is not ready right now.
We are halfway populated, I would say. We probably need probably another 75 people and we'll be good. But we do have 75 people right now.
75 people now, and you're saying another 75 people.
Yes.
And who's going to choose the other 75 people to be on?
Those people, again, will come from people who have reparations backgrounds. We putting together a reparations plan, so we need to populate the ARS Congress with people who are knowledgeable about reparations and spirituality and some other elements that we name in here.
All right.
But yep, that is important, Dr. Rocco. I know everybody does want to know how we're going to get the money distributed. But just like I say, it's just as important for us to make sure that we have a plan to execute, to make sure our people take care of ourselves and don't do like Dr. Anderson said, get the money right back tomorrow. We want to get everybody in tune with AARS so we can get ourselves cleaned up mentally so we don't even have those thoughts coming into our mind by the time we get our reparations.
I understand.
Okay, anybody else have any question or comment on that part? Okay, then I'll go to part 3 then, the ARS memo and bullet points. This is also only 3 pages here too. So let me read it from the top. It is the ARS memo and bullet points. Recruiting potential allies to endorse and support the African-American Reparations/Sovereignty, AARS Global Black Reparations Plan. AARS memo. The AARS plan is a complete and comprehensive plan. It has ideas and suggestions from our great Black scholars of the past and present. It includes processes, programs, and services to get emergency monetary relief, repair colossal damage, solve lingering and mounting problems, and to create a new line of thinking in Blacks, to learn and know they have earned and are entitled to their own sovereign land right here in America as indigenous people with indigenous rights. That enabled Blacks to build their own new elite and safe, repatriated, and sovereign cities, form their own government, write their own laws. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. Excuse me. Write their own laws and control all affairs, companies, institutions, and systems on their land. In an attempt to override and diminish the sellouts and unite genuine reparations activists, then the entire Black family, we will use AARS as the base reparations plan. Then we add all other good ideas from all good people to repair damage or to benefit the masses. The AAIU and their allies are forming the AARS Congress as a power base to implement AARS. They need people who have a history of helping Black people, people who gave input on AARS, people with good reparation plans and ideas, and people protesting inequality and unjust police terrorism and killings. We will get good people from different races and professions, and they must have a good understanding of spirituality, reparations, diplomacy, law, and politics. So the AARS Congress will represent a strong leadership core for African Americans and Black people at home and abroad. Anybody want to make any comments or have any questions about the memo? If not, let me get, just go ahead. Yeah.
This is Dr. Kelly.
Hey, Dr. Kelly.
Hi, I've got a lot of comments. I'm going to let you go ahead and read those points because I've read this section and I have a lot of things to say about it and to summarize some of the things the other people seem to be concerned about. But I think this is going to gel it for a lot of people. This is a great plan. Go ahead and read that part and then I'll have something to say if you don't mind.
Okay, thank you. Okay, AARS bullet points. 1, giving honor to God and praying for special help to unify Blacks and get justice via reparations, via AARS reparations. 2, the strongest part of AARS is we generate our own reparations wealth from seed funds from the government, other guilty groups, those with compassion for Blacks and rich Blacks. 3, that is why AARS is by far the best reparations plan. All other plans require waiting, begging, or fighting lawsuits that we may never win. With AARS, we get seed funds and generate wealth right now. AARS provides great debt relief for the government and the other guilty groups who owe reparations because they are all guilty of crimes against humanity, including mass murder, disconnecting cultures and families, and benefiting from colonialism and slavery. In AARS, they get this great debt relief by donating 5 billion seed funds instead of giving the 2 trillion, 20 trillion, or 50 trillion that they owe. 5, AARS provides great relief for Blacks by providing emergency monetary relief on 12/1/22. That's right. We can get our reparations this year, December 1st, if Black people start reading and studying AARS to know that it was designed for the masses of Black people and for us to repair the damage that has been done to our people and to set us on the path of a future of a life led by spirituality and traditional African values, so we can take our people back to the place that we were prior to slavery, mentally. That's how we want to approach reparations. Number 6, AARS includes spiritual, cultural, family, and social programs and services to repair Blacks back to their peaceful and progressive status they were in prior to colonialism and slavery. Brother Joe Henry brought that point. That's a good point too. Number 7, AARS includes programs and land negotiations to build safe, repatriated, and sovereign cities right here in America, regain control of Africa, and rebuild the infrastructure there and globally. Number 8, AARS has programs and services to reconnect Blacks with their mother and homeland Africa, their spiritual beginnings, their global and extended family, and traditional culture and customs. Next page, number 9. AARS offers preparation to receive reparation programs to help Blacks get in top mental and physical shape to receive reparations so that we don't squander them, to make sure we use them most efficiently, set us on the path for healing and recovering, and to guarantee our future with provisions for safety and success. Number 10, AARS offers financial services and career-oriented programs to offer Blacks guidance and stability in finances, to assist them in choosing a career, and to establish high retention job rates. Number 11, AARS explains and enhances the 3 models of reparations. Now, when we have our plebiscite vote, this is one of the things we'll be voting on, which model you prefer to live in. So AARS explains and enhances, number 11, AARS explains and enhances the 3 models of reparation to take care of all 50 million Blacks in the United States, then all Blacks globally. 1, improving integration with AARS congressional case studies and dialogue. 2, expanding repatriation with approval from our extended family members where we choose to go, and with ample resources to rebuild the infrastructure and to build elite and safe repatriated cities. And 3, creating sovereignty for Blacks to develop a new line of thinking, to know they are entitled to their own land right here in America if they claim an injured and indigenous status by name, indigenous African American, via their plebiscite vote. Number 12, the AARS plebiscite vote serves to let everyone know Blacks are indigenous to this land as distinct relatives of the great ancient African Olmecs who were here first, building and moving civilizations. Again, it wasn't the Indians or the Mexicans. Black people were here first, so we are indigenous to this land. The PV functioned to finish the civil rights movement when Blacks were forced to integrate. The PV offers Blacks a chance to choose which model they prefer for residence instead of being forced into integration. 13, the government should stipulate that this repatriated and sovereign land can never be taken away from Blacks for eminent domain, any necessity, or any other reason that they ever conceive. Number 14, the AARS Black History Month up to Juneteenth project, which we are engaging in now, is circulating, reading, and discussing AARS with all Blacks for the whole month of April. By May 1st, most Blacks should realize that AARS is their best reparations plan by far, again, because we generate reparations well. This will prepare us to start a massive civil rights, national and international reparations movement for AARS on Monday, May the 2nd. And for the whole month of May, to get the United States government to ratify AARS by Juneteenth, then take our plebiscite vote and continue movement if needed. Number 15, AARS prevents reparations opponents and their sellouts from trying to set criteria for Blacks to receive reparations. Ridiculous. All Blacks identified as Black on their birth certificates qualify. Number 16, opponents and their sellouts even have the nerve to say Blacks can only claim reparations for the last 400 years. Again, that's ridiculous. Africa was invaded back in 332 BC. That is more than 2,000 years ago. And so no, we don't have to sue just for 40 years. We can sue you for 2,000 years if we wanted to. But since we can generate the wealth now, we don't have to worry about the lawsuits anymore. We can just push AARS on them and tell them to give us our seed funds, let us generate our own reparations wealth. It's better for both parties, for the government and other guilty groups, and for us Black people who are the victims of those crimes. Number 17. Opponents and their sellouts are now even saying blacks have to prove they are a descendant of a slave to qualify for reparations. Again, that's ridiculous. All blacks get reparations based on racial profiling. You driving down the street and the police get behind you, they're not going to see what line of people that you're from. They're not going to see how light or how dark. The only thing they see that you black, and they'll harass you and kill you if they want to. Got to get out of this integration, y'all. We got to stop letting them kill innocent black people like that. It's just not right, and it's taking a big toll on me and a lot of people, black people. It mentally is draining us. All this police killing our innocent people has got to stop. Number 18, when discussing reparations, most people are only concerned about the money. AARS provides that emergency monetary relief, but it includes programs and services to heal, repair, recover, and transform. Number 19, to expose true Black history, to prove Africa is the home of humanity and blacks are the original people, so all people, and especially the corrupt police and white supremacists, could start giving them respect or at least tolerate them as human beings, and to stop the daily unnecessary harassment and unjust cycles of killing. They're innocent and unarmed, beautiful Black people. Number 20. The AIU also lists 30 reasons for blacks to claim reparations on Section 5, Article 5 of their website. Then see another website to see brutal enslaver tactics causing severe and in-depth emotional trauma, proving reparations are way past overdue. After you read those 30 reasons, see those awful tactics and read this AARS info, you will know why blacks should have gotten reparations right after slavery. And there is no way that any others should have ever received reparations before Africa, and all Black people. Note, damage, death, and destruction amassed is from 407 BC plotting to 2021 viruses created. So they should not deny blacks reparations any longer. They should ratify AARS immediately. Of the two phrases below are factors we include to calculate damage. The two phrases are, the world's economy and America were built on the backs of Black slaves. Oh man, I gotta say that one more time. The world's economy and America were built on the backs of Black slaves. My goodness. And the second phrase is, suppressed emotional trauma is causing blacks to develop mental disorders. We talked about that in the early part of the program. Number 21, in AARS, we demand the government to grant 40 square miles of land grants for 40 million blacks, symbolic to 40 acres and a mule. 10 million of 50 million blacks may want to stay integrated. Manhattan is 37.7 square miles with 1.63 million people. So 40 square mile areas are good for 40 United States Black reparations land grants. 22, improving integration and the AARS Congress. The AAIU will form the AARS Congress to implement the AARS plan and follow 1 through 7 the next time a Black person is unjustly killed by the police or to start the reparations movement. The AARS Congress will, 1, initiate 5-year national movement against police killings and for reparations. 2, initiate a 5-year national dialogue on racism, corruption, and police terrorism. 3, initiate 5-year case studies to identify systematic problems to produce solutions in all institutions and in society. 4, initiate 5-year case studies to improve interaction with and performance of all companies, institutions, and systems which blacks depend on for socialization, learning, and survival. Number 5, initiate 5-year-long boycotting against companies who disrespect blacks. Number 6, do mass buying from companies who respect blacks. And 7, transferring 75% of our assets from all other banks to the operating Black banks. These 7 power moves will be very effective if done nationally and simultaneously to get blacks instant respect. Number 23, if everyone in the United States should endorse ARS for Black reparations because it includes studies to produce positive changes in all businesses, companies, entities, and institutions in society. Therefore, AARS benefits Blacks and everyone else in America. Number 24, when Blacks get their own land to build their own cities, they can establish their own books, customs, and holidays to observe, like building bridges over troubled waters, rites of passage, and Kwanzaa, and other programs we need to repair damage, celebrate Black awards, triumphs, and contributions, honor our heroes and sheroes, and offers guidance and stability for the masses. Number 25, Reverend Tom B. Watson. He has dedicated more than 25 years to community involvement and is a former superintendent of the Mills Boys Home. He is calling the Black family to order as it pertains to Blacks globally. Black men must start standing up for themselves and their race. David. In the end, let us promote AARS as a source for satisfaction and justice for Blacks and as a heated source for all nations and races, with the business model providing great relief for the culprits and the victims. And I thank you very much for your time. That is the ARS summary. Does anybody have any questions, comments on that part?
I have comments. Can you hear me? This is Brotha Pruitt.
Oh, I can't hear you. Who are you?
Wait a minute, Pruitt. Dr. Kelly was next. She said she had.
Oh, let her go.
I would like to go before Dr. Kelly. I just have a comment.
Okay, let her go.
So I got the impression Dr. Kelly had several comments to make.
That's right.
Have a brief comment. This is Glenda, Brotha Pruitt.
Okay.
And I just wanted, first of all, thank you for the time and all your effort that you putting into AARS. And I just want to say that it's a challenge. It's a challenge for all of us as African Americans to do our job to help deconstruct the systems of oppression that have consumed the lives of so many African Americans. And the way I see it is that AARS is like, our mother plan, but each one of us have to have a plan.
Yeah.
And each one of our plans should come together to strengthen the overall objective and success of AARS.
Yes.
And I just want to thank you for that and just to, make that comment. And I think it's a challenge that all of us really have to be committed to because it's going to take all of us.
That is absolutely right. Yes.
Yeah. So,
thank you, Glenda. Appreciate your comment. Look forward to speaking to you soon.
Okay. Likewise.
All right.
Okay.
Next question or comment.
Okay, this is me, Dr. Kelly. I'm so full of things and comments to talk about. I want to start by saying that I have looked at reparations plans and attended seminars from the 1970s all the way to recently. People are constantly talking about it. And if you were to Google reparations plans like I did today, just to look at it again, you will see a list of 2020, 21, and 22 organizations and outlets, media that are talking about it. What reparations for slavery might look like. New York Times, racial equity fools, plans, issues, reparations, the Brookings Institute. All these different organizations have come together and are still talking on a daily basis about what reparations should look like for us and trying to get us into the discussion. And in fact, they have an idea of what they want to have happen to us. And that was one of the points that were brought up in this conversation tonight. So many things have fertilized this thing, but I can say this about AARS. Of all the things I've read, paid attention to, and all the seminars I've been to over the many, many years. This plan is the best plan I have ever come across. It is in its formative years because it's going to include all of us in some shape, form, or fashion to make it come to fruition. The Congress has to be formed, and each one of us has a part in it, as Glenda was saying. And when the brother HI 240 was speaking, he said that we're suffering from the illusion of inclusion. And that rung, I wanted to just applaud right then when he said that, because that ties right into the systematic difficulty and the numbness that a lot of our young people experience because of integration. You know, when they have mixed with people in school and otherwise in integration that are doing self-actualization in their lives, where on the other side, our people are being shot down in the street and hung and dropped into and tortured and dropped into rivers like Emmett Till was in 55. We have some numbness. We have some corporate numbness, some global numbness, where we kind of shrug our shoulders every time somebody gets killed. This plan is going to bring us out of that lethargy. It's going to wake our minds up. It's going to open our hearts up. It's going to cause us to interact with each other. And like Mr. Kinsey was saying, what are we going to do about the economics? How are we going to stick together? They typically kill all of us and bomb our towns anytime we get together and decide that we can become cohesive and that we are going to dominate our lives and not let them infiltrate our thinking and push us down psychologically. This plan has the ingredients and the foundation that will open up dialogues and cause that synergy, the symbiosis to take place and to flourish. There's nothing like getting somebody money that will get the attention of the masses of people. And in the course of them being fed this emergency funding, I do sincerely believe that it's going to begin to open up some minds to some new ideas. I don't know if there are going to be rules and regulations that say that you can get an allotment of money if you take certain classes, or if you identify the fact that you have done well with what you've been given along this $2 million track we're going to go on. But I just wanted to say, for all the reasons, from everything everybody said tonight, I do believe it can happen with this plan. I do believe that all the people on this particular call, these names that I'm seeing here, are going to make sure it happens, because I think that after Brother Pruitt has explained it all in what's written, and we can show it to other people and reread it ourselves, there isn't any way that we can't succeed with this, especially since there will be money circulating. Now, what I'd like to know, and one of my big questions would be, of course, about how we do sovereignty, because I think I'm interested in that piece for myself, but I want to understand more clearly how we keep ourselves safe. And I want to also understand what it takes. Do we have to apply to be on the Congress or nominate people to be on? And if you can address some of those things, I'd appreciate it.
Okay. Okay, thank you again, Dr. Kelly. Appreciate your comments and your questions. So as far as getting Black people to become sovereign, we will have to utilize the plebiscite vote process. That, again, will indicate that Black people are indigenous people with rights, sovereign rights, and rights that indigenous people have. So we take our plebiscite vote, and Black people say that we want to be a sovereign people, then we can become sovereign in this country, just like Hawaii became a sovereign state. Black people can become a sovereign people right here in America. That will enable us to get our land settlements so we can build our own cities. Now, when we build our own cities, we will have the military with us building the city. So we will have them build a small military institution at all of our cities too. Because just like Marshawn pointed out, every time we try to do something constructive, we get bombed out of the water. So we're going to build a military institution at every one of our cities, so to make sure we don't even have to have that problem. We don't have to have that concern at all. With a military institution in our city, the people understand that that is there for our protection. So nobody's going to come and mess with us. We have our own military. So, and again, in sovereignty, people don't understand that all people are born with sovereign rights to be able to govern yourself and your people without any foreign interference. Because if you have a people that are governing you and ruling you that are outside of your race and they think that they are above your race, then you are not going to get justice on that property. There's no way. That's why Marcus Garvey said, Black people can never have justice in this country because of the history of this nation. It's just too much violence that has went on against Black people. And it's really, really hard to say how you can make up for being exposed to so much violence and have to withstand so much killing of your innocent people. It just, it's baffling, but it's something that we're going to have to do. And so when we become a sovereign people again, we get our own land, build our own cities, and we form our own government, rewrite our own laws. And that is really Black people's salvation in this nation. We should be on our own and governing ourselves. We shouldn't be living under the auspices of the United States government any longer, unless you're a rich Black person, or else you just simply satisfied, like one of the callers said, it's going to take an act of Congress and as some kind of future shock to get Black people to think on the level that we need them to think on in order to get ourselves back to the position and the status that we were in prior to slavery. That's the goal of reparations, for Black people to get ourselves that we were in mentally, the state of mind that we were in mentally prior to all the invasions and colonialism and slavery and racism. That is the key to the future for Black people, to get ourselves back to our traditional heritage roots, to get ourselves back into the values and the systems that we grew up with in classical Africa. We have to do that. So we are on the path to bring some people together to form the Congress to implement the plan. So we're in a good shape right now. We're in a good place at this time in history, and Black people are coming together now like never before. So we're about to make some headways both nationally and internationally with AARS. Thank you for your comments and your questions, Dr. Kelly.
Anyone else have any questions? Any discussion?
Question, but comment if no one else is going to speak.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, Brother Cliff, I just had some flashes. You know, earlier I spoke about, you know, using forms of propaganda to get the word out.
Right.
What's going on. And I know these Negroes ain't got the heart to do it, but we got enough voices out there. Kendrick Lamar, what's the brother? Beyonce and her husband.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy but Kanye West, with his mind ain't even there. But there's enough voices out there, and I'm sure in the diaspora they got some brothers and sisters. I don't, and I just don't mean to mention the brothers, but the word can get out there through hip hop. That's what all of them listening to anyhow.
Right.
And another thing, you know, I'm a study of history, and I want to bring out one little aspect of Adolf Hitler and what they did in the Third Reich. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not endorsing what he did and all that, but how they organized. He was that Third Reich was one of the best organized things I've seen as far as, you know, propaganda machine.
Right.
That's how they were able to do what they did.
Right.
and they had what they call block lighters. They had a person on every block that was reporting the activities of those that went against the Third Reich. So
right.
use that if every black neighborhood had a representative of this AA, I forget the
AARS.
ARS, and had copies of the plan,
Right.
get it out like that, every block, that could be astronomical in terms of getting people informed.
Man, that's amazing that you said that, because we are in the process of doing that right now. You're absolutely right, brother.
And I just wanted to put that out there, but I know, some of these folks ain't got the heart to do, like I said initially, about these hip hoppers and actors and actresses and whatnot.
Right.
They'd probably be unemployed if they even thought about doing it, But anyway, that's it for all my comments for tonight. Appreciate what you said. And Brother Rascani, maybe you can get a whole printed copy of that, and I can take that to Kinko's or somewhere and get it printed. Because you talk about reading the plan, brother.
Uh-huh.
I tell you, from a retired, educated position,
my
folks ain't reading. Some that just can't.
Right.
Yeah. So that needs to be implemented too, like some good reading programs about our history and ourselves to get our people back into reading, because
right.
30 years with this new, what do they call it, this whole language approach, when they went away from phonics, kind of messed up the whole reading thing for our folks. So anyway, appreciating what you said, and I look forward to getting my copy as soon as possible.
All right. Thank you so much for your participation, brother, and you have a nice evening.
Rashaki, you have any comment?
No, I will get that information to Joe.
All right. Anyone else have any comments before I make some discussion? First of all, again, appreciate what you discussed, and if I understand it correctly, and appreciating all the comments that have been made by the various people that have made comment. For one, first of all, I want to let you know there are about 4 major national conferences and the conventions that's about to come about. First one is the National Black Association Conference in Atlanta. That's September 27th to October 1st or something like that. Yeah, October 1st. They're having a discussion, and maybe you can get on the agenda or at least have somebody read the plan there. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is a National Black Convention.
Mm-hmm.
That's modeled after the National Black Political Convention in Gary, Indiana.
Okay.
That was put in 1972. I attended. But Chokwe Lumumba out of Jackson, Mississippi, the mayor, and the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, they're putting it together, and their theme is a weekend of many roads, but one destiny.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure they're going to have reparations on the discussion, and again, that may be a platform. In August, most cities take a break for 2 weeks, and they go to the Black Political, the National Black Caucus Convention in DC. I attended about 5 of those.
Okay.
But your congressional representative, like Maxine Waters and people, all the Black caucuses, ain't about 30-some of them, and then the senators, they all have sponsors, and they give dinners and luncheons, and it's in the convention hall, and it's all over. And they have workshops and conferences and speakers and stuff there. And that's pretty big, because Black people from almost all Black local elected officials attend that every year. Mm-hmm. They didn't have it, I don't think, last year or the year before. Mm-hmm. And even Biden will attend because Obama attended and Clinton attended it before COVID. Mm-hmm. But the Republican president never attends. But okay. They come and they give a speech and then they leave. Mm. But they have a big banquet and right. they come. But the other thing is that, you know, most people say that in order to really have a comprehensive understanding of reparation plans, there should, well, the national, of course, the task force for California, I think it's Assembly Bill 2131 or 3121, that formed the national, the task force for the study of reparations, who came out with that. They determined in a 5-4 vote that reparations should be given based on lineage, not race, that you have to be able to trace yourself to be a former descendant of slavery. Mm-hmm. And those are the only ones that they are talking about. And that's for the state of California. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that task force, and there's a California Black Caucus, and that you might want to send your information to. The other thing is that when you say, and I just need some clarity on the perspective of guaranteed wealth generation, generating guaranteed wealth or guaranteed generational wealth. And you said something like, give Black people 100,000 apiece and then build in Black cities. How would those cities, I mean, hypothetically, if you had the money and had the land, I mean, how do you operate? I mean, are these people that are going to be giving you the money going to continuously give you money to operate the cities? The ARSP plan, or is there going to be a tax base once you become independent? What I mean, I mean, it costs to run the city. The fire department, water department, all those issues of that goes into operating the city, utilities, a courthouse, law enforcement. How do you, I mean, you know, a lot of that.
You got the energy and the water and power, all that. Yeah, right.
No, I asked you how you gonna pay for that?
With the money that we generate from the seed funds.
Okay, so the seed funds. What are the seed funds? You said the seed funds was $100,000 for each Black person in America.
No,
is that right?
No.
What did you say then?
Seed funds are monies that we get from the government and other guilty groups to generate our wealth. Now, we also are going to take seed funds from those with compassion for Blacks and rich Blacks. But what happens is, for an example, we have the best program that we have is for $5 billion. So we get one of those people from one of those groups put up $5 billion. We generate the wealth for 1 year. About 100, it averages to about 100 billion. And then after the year period, when the program is over, we give the people their $5 billion back. Or we can negotiate and let them have 10 or 20 billion. But we will negotiate, but the majority of the money that's made will be for ARS reparations. So we can do everything that's necessary to build a city. Because you're right, Dr. Ross, it takes a lot to go into to build a city and to maintain it.
No, you're getting ahead of me. I'm asking you from the standpoint of the seed money how much go to the individuals up front? Not, do they have to wait for the generation wealth, or do they get money up front?
No, we'll start generating wealth now, and on December the 1st, all Black people get $100,000.
On what? December the 1st?
On December the 1st of this year, not next year.
Okay.
We don't have to wait for a report for next year. We're ready. I have the funding sources ready to generate the wealth right now. That's the most important thing. You ain't got to worry about nobody else. The funding sources are ready to generate the wealth right now.
The funding sources are the government,
No. The funding sources are the SEEG groups that are going to generate the wealth with the seed funds.
So you're saying that the money that the seed funds go to the AARS, the African American Reparations Sovereignty Group?
No.
Well, where does the seed?
The seed funds go to the operating Black banks so we can participate in the programs to generate wealth. The money that we get after we generate the wealth will go to the ARS Congress so we can implement ARS plan to get our own land, to build our own cities, and to have enough money to provide programs to repair the damage that has been done to our people.
In other words, the AARSP is saying that the seed money should go to Black banks.
Right.
Black banks will implement the plan.
Right.
And once they implement the plan, fund the plan, the various plans that is determined by the AARS.
Right.
Congress.
Right.
And you have already identified the groups that will give the money, which is the government, guilty groups and corporations, and some rich Blacks will put up the money.
Right, and so and others with compassion.
And others with compassion.
Yeah, like Bill Gates and them. They got all the money so they can help us too.
Okay. And you're saying they're gonna do this before December 1st so that you can start the plan by December 1st. You said something about
exactly. That is exactly right. The companies that are ready to generate the wealth right now, they are ready. So if we can get this process started within the next 30 days, all Black people will get $100,000 on December the 1st.
From the generation wealth, not from...
That is exactly right. From generating wealth, not from nobody giving them money directly. We're going to generate wealth, and then
they get $100,000 to do what they want to do.
That is exactly right. But we're going to have reparation programs so that they don't go and do anything that they thought they was going to do. We're going to have people thinking in a new line of thought.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, if people get $100,000, ain't nobody going to tell them how to spend it.
No, ain't nobody going to tell them how to spend it. That is a fact. You can't tell an adult how to spend their money, but you can give them ideas and programs to keep them on the right path to make sure that they do use the money most effectively instead of just spending it all on nothing.
So you're saying that a person with 10 kids, each of his kids get $100,000.
A Black person with 50 kids, all 51 of them get $100,000. It's 50 million Black people in this country. We are prepared to take care of every 50 million Black person in this country with AARS. That's right. Well, we ain't got to worry about talking about you got to be a descendant of a slave. We ain't got to worry about talking about you got to prove that you're from a certain lineage. We ain't got to worry about none of that nonsense with ARS. We get done with what reparations is supposed to do for Black people. And that is we repair the damage that's been done to our family and we get a monetary compensation stipend too.
So that's mixed families too?
No, it's not mixed families.
Well, there's Black people that's having babies by white people all day now.
Yeah, that's true. But they're not gonna get reparations before all Black people though. We're gonna have some structure to this program, and we do have it. We don't mind if a half-breed get reparations, but he ain't gonna get no reparations for a full black person. That ain't gonna happen.
I mean, all right, I'm through, bro. Okay.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a process, you know, and it's some thought should go into it. But if you think about it, then you know it's common sense. It makes common sense to you. Why should a person that is allowed to get reparations before a person that is darker? That don't make any sense to me. But you know, just like I said, the bottom line is, when you was born, if you got black on your birth certificate, you're gonna get reparations. So a half breed, he gonna get his reparations too.
Well, most of them had Negro or colored.
Yeah, whatever they call it. So, because I remember they used to do the paper bag test back in the day. You remember if you was lighting in the paper bag, you was accepted.
Well, they used to one time say if you had an inkling of black blood, you was black.
Yeah, I remember the time when they said that if you had 1/16 of black blood, then you black. You remember that one?
That's the same thing. Inkling.
Okay.
But okay, I'm good. Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, brother Cliff, this is Joe.
Okay.
How is this becoming a Pan-African thing? You know, you said we got 50 million here, but we know that more slaves were brought to Brazil,
right,
the United States. So how is this going to do we need what Malcolm called the Bandung Conference again to get a Pan-African thing going as far as this reparational idea is concerned?
Pan-Africanism has never stopped, my dear brother. It's just not as famous as it used to be, but we still have plenty of Pan-Africans today to make ARS a global plan. Yes, we do. And we intend on doing it, because just like you say, black people were affected globally, so reparations should be distributed for black people globally.
That was one of the, excuse me, I'm sorry, Marshawn Kinsey from the Mighty Forefront. That was one of the things that we were interested in, because as we're working with the diaspora and a lot of the different diaspora states and diaspora groups throughout the world, looking at them and seeing that, you know, you have Haiti, which has a lot of problems there, and these countries, these are a lot of opportunities for us to like take in these countries and become part of the diaspora. Even the small local cities or states that we'll have here, the hubs that here will be all part of someone like of a diaspora.
Absolutely right.
So this one of the ones that you understand, the people are
I hear you, brother.
Even in the ones that
Marshawn, stick by your computer, man. You're going in and out. We can't hear you.
Okay. Even the high melanin individuals in South America get treated like crap, you know. And so the thing is that we have to really look at those issues as something that we can relate to our brothers, the ones in Haiti, the ones in Jamaica, the ones in Puerto Rico, and those places that we can really go out there and really open up our businesses and use those as, just like I said, secondary homes. There's no reason for us here in America who shouldn't be able to have second vacation homes somewhere in Africa or throughout the diaspora. So this is the kind of things we want to be able to promote and kind of put together in a sense, I think will help benefit what we're trying to do.
And you are absolutely right again, young brother. And we're going to put dual citizenship into effect to take that to another level, because we want to definitely get a chance to reunite with our global black family, our black people that's in Haiti, Jamaica, and Brazil, all the places where there's a large population of black people that was enslaved and exploited. We definitely want to reconnect with them. Yes, sir, you are absolutely right. And that is important. That's why we have the repatriation model, so we can go to those places and we can build them people some beautiful cities, just like we're going to build black people in America some beautiful cities. We don't have to live in these rundown slum neighborhoods no more. It's over. We can generate our own reparations wealth now to take care of our people ourselves.
It's just going to be an issue, brother, because I mean, I've been working, I taught Black studies for 34 years. And people want their own reparations. As Joe said, some want it differently. There has not been a national conference where all plans and all people for reparations can attend and get information from experts. And as you say, those that have been working on reparations for years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Garveyites and all that.
Right.
You know, they're trying to build a bus for Marcus Garvey now.
Right.
But then second, many people don't see people giving money to an organization under the auspices of reparation. to generate wealth and then give them money. They rather see, you don't give me mine. And all those that want to be a part of the AARS program, y'all go. But I want mine for me and my family, or me, period.
Yeah, but you know what? Where they gonna get the money from, though? Where's the money gonna come from?
The same money that you get. Where you getting it from?
Oh no, we not asking. But you talking about $200 trillion now? We talking about $5 billion for some different companies to generate $200 trillion. That will be taking up. That's a big difference. You go to them people and tell them, give me trillions of dollars, it's going to be some animosity. If you go to them people and tell them have $5 billion in seed funds to generate wealth, they might take it a little bit better.
You said that the whole purpose of these individuals, the government, the guilty parties, the corporations, the philanthropic people, the rich Black people, will all participate and give money to the reparation.
No. They're not going to give money to ARS. They're going to put the money into a bank account, and we're going to generate wealth off of that money. Ain't nobody giving ARS no money.
Well, that's my point.
Okay, I just want to make sure I cleared that up, everybody.
We're saying the same thing. If you put the money in the bank and the only one have access to it is the AARPS Congress, that's your money.
That's not how we said that.
That's exactly what you said.
No, I didn't either.
Okay,
what I said was that then people can give us seed funds and they can put it in a bank and we can generate wealth off of that money and then give them people their money back. There's a big difference from telling people we're going to have people get their $5 million. We don't even want that to get that started.
I'm not talking about paying the money back. I'm not talking about paying the money back.
We talking about paying the money back. We talking about that with ARS.
I was not, well, I hadn't even gotten to that part.
Okay.
Of paying money back to people that enslaved you, or some of them that was participating. Mm-hmm. I'm asking you from the standpoint of your plan. Mm-hmm. Because we're dealing with people, African people around the world.
Right.
You're saying that once you generate the wealth, and you call yourself a reparation organization. So the people see that as that money going in the bank is a part of their reparations. And you're going to generate more money off of that seed money.
That is right.
They give them some money and they pay the money back.
That is right. You got it, sir. Yes, sir.
That
is absolutely right.
And I'm saying, people are saying to the people that you're going to and give the money, they're going to say, hey, look, all those that want the banks to give the money to the Congress of AARP, yeah, y'all fine. But I want mine for me.
No, this plan doesn't work like that. But just like I said, there are some other good reparation plans out there. No. There's some other good reparation plans out there where they can go and get money like that. With ARS, we are not going to operate like that. With ARS, we're going to get seed funds and we're going to generate wealth because we're not going to get settled for billions of dollars. We're going to generate hundreds of trillions of dollars with $5 billion in seed funds. That's what we're going to do.
So you're going to have ports, you're going to be an international trade.
Exactly. Exactly. We're going to do all that. That's right. We're going to have local, state, national, and international commerce. That is exactly right.
All right. I'm through. I made my point. All right. Anybody else have points? All right. You want to close out, Cliff?
Oh, yeah. I just want to, Dr. Ross, say thank you again for the opportunity you and Rashid can give me to talk about ARS a little bit. After people read it and understand it a little more thorough, it will go easy over with the masses because it's a plan to where we can generate our own wealth, and we don't have to sit back and wait on people, because the way some plans are written up, we would be waiting on people to give us reparations for another 5 or 10 years. With ARS, we can begin to give people money in 5, 6, 7 months. We don't have to wait 5 or 10 years. And we should get reparations for Black people right now. And thank you so much for your time. God bless you, in Hotel.
Yeah, all right, Hotel, my brother. Rashiki, next Wednesday, who's on?
Okay, on Wednesday, I'll share the screen. We have Brother Strauss coming back on. That's a Geronimo Pratt's nephew. He has a new show coming out, so he's going to introduce that show to us and tell us about it. So that's on Wednesday. Okay. And I appreciate everybody coming here this evening, making this contribution. Brother Cliff with the African American Reparations and Sovereignty. And it would be good if some of you could get in contact with the show or with the website that I just shown, communityeducationnetwork.com, so we can further discuss issues like this and come up with solutions to make our situation better than what it is. So Professor Ra, anybody else for Monday or?
Well, me and Joe, calling Joe, but tentatively, you know, I was talking to Ronnie Foster. I put him off last Monday, and maybe this coming Monday, if Joe don't have anybody, to talk about his trip to Ghana, where he spent over a month studying the issues and the people of Ghana, and he wanted to share that with us.
Yeah, I hope we can get him on. Okay. All right. Conscious Corner, and each one teach one. Good night, everybody.
All right. Thank you very much. Good night.